Okay, so in addition to what we did in class, I want to go over some of the two-step equation problems you had on your homework. Just to review it a little bit more, because I know some of you had some difficulty with that. So if we look at number 9, Aaliyah had some candy to give to her 4 children. She first took pieces for herself and then evenly divided the rest among the children. Each child received 2 pieces. With how many pieces did she start? So we want to know how many pieces she had before she took away 10 and before she divided the rest amongst her 4 kids. So we're looking for how much she started with. So we can use P for pieces. That's how many pieces she started with. And what did she do? She took away 10 pieces for herself, and then she divided the rest of that by 4. So how do you find the rest? What you started with minus what she took away. That's going to give us the rest of the pieces that she has left, and she's dividing them amongst 4 kids. And those 4 kids are each getting 2 pieces. Okay, so this is how much each one of those 4 kids is actually getting. So you can see there's our equation. And since we're dividing by 4, we want to do the opposite to both sides, multiply by 4. So 2 times 4 is 8. And this 4, they eliminate each other, right? Because it's 4 divided by 4. So in essence, what we've done is eliminated our denominator. So what do we have left? P minus 10 equals 8. Now we just add 10 to both sides to get the P by itself and the constants by itself of 18, and we're done. So altogether, she started with 18 pieces. Which makes sense. She started with 18. She took away 10. So that leaves 8 left. 8 divided by 4 is 2. So it works. Let's look at this next one. How old am I if 400 reduced by 2 times my age is 244? So we know is the answer is 244. So is equal 244 on one side. Now, it says 400 reduced by, so reduced by means subtract. And what are we subtracting? 2 times my age. So we can use A for age. 2 times that age would be 2A. So 400 minus 2A equals 244. What do we do first? Well, we have constants on both sides. We want them on one side. And the variable is already alone on this side with its coefficient. So let's move the constant to that side by subtracting 400 from it. Remember, if we subtract 400 from one side, we got to do it from the other side. 400 minus 400 leaves us with negative 2A. 244 minus 400 is negative 156. Now all we got to do is get that coefficient to be 1. How do you always get a coefficient to be 1? Divide by the coefficient number. So negative 2 divided by negative 2 gives us the 1A. And since we divided by negative 2 here, we got to do the same thing here. Negative 156 divided by negative 2 is 78. So you're 78 years old. And if you put 78 in here and evaluate it, you'll see that 400 minus 2 times 78 is 244. Number 11 says Jill sold half of her comic books and then bought 16 more. She now has 36. With how many did she begin? So this is another one of those after then and before. She ended up with 36. And what happened first? She sold half of them. So she had comics, she sold half, and then she bought 16 more. So she didn't sell half of the 16 she just bought. She sold half of what she started with, then bought 16 more, and now has 36. So what do? Let's get the constants on the same side. So we subtract 16 from both sides, get 20, and then let's get rid of that denominator by multiplying both sides by 2. That gives us C equals 40. So she started with 40 comics. If we put it back in, 40 divided by 2 is 20. 20 plus 16 is 36. So it checks. Number 12, for a field trip, 4 students rode in cars and the rest filled 9 buses. How many students were in each bus if 472 students were on the trip? So we know altogether there are 472 students. We know 4 of them are in the cars. And we also know there are 9 buses filled with students. 9 buses filled with students. We want to know how many students there are. So there's our equation. Take away the 4 from both sides, and that gives us 9s equals 468. Divide out that coefficient of 9, and we end up getting 52. So there are 52 students on each bus. Altogether, there are 9 buses with 52 students on each, plus the 4 students that are in the cars. Number 13, on Tuesday, Shanice brought 5 hats. On Wednesday, all the hats that she had were destroyed. On Thursday, there were only 17 left. How many did she have on Monday? Now Monday, they're obviously talking about the day before she bought the 5 hats. Okay, so we start with she had some hats, she bought 5. Then the very next day, half of her hats were destroyed. So what she had originally plus the new 5, half of those were destroyed. So we have to divide that by 2. And after all that, she had 17 left. All right, so there's our equation. What she had plus the 5 she bought, all divided by 2, and now she has 17. So we can multiply, get rid of that denominator. We multiply both sides of the equation by 2. Okay, so 2 divided by 2 gives us 1. We end up with h plus 5 on that side. 2 times 17 is 34. Now all we got to do is subtract that 5 from both sides, and we get 29. So Shanice had 29 hats on Monday. Let's just double check. 29 plus 5 is 34. 34 divided by 2 is 17, so we're good to go. And the last number, 14, the last one here. The cooking club made some pies to sell at a basketball game to raise money for new math books. The cafeteria contributed 4 pies to the sale. Each pie was then cut into 5 pieces and sold. Okay, so if we think of one pie cut it in 5 pieces, that means one pie has 5 pieces in it. Okay, so remember that. There were a total of 60 pieces to sell. How many pies did the club make? Okay, so we know there's 60 pieces altogether. That's what we're looking for. That's what we know, that we have 60 pieces. We want to find out how many pies the club made. Well, we know that the cooking club made some pies, and we also know the cafeteria contributed 4 pies. Each one of those pies, the ones that the cooking club made and the ones that the cafeteria provided, were both cut into 5 pieces, each one. So this is a distributed property one, okay? 5 times p plus 5 times 4, which is 20. Okay, that 20 represents the number of pieces in the cafeteria, because remember, 4 pies at 5 pieces in each pie comes out to 20 pieces. Okay, and that's what we're looking for, is how many the cooking club. So that p represents how many pies the cooking club gave us. So we subtract the 20 from both sides to get all the constants together, and we end up with 60 minus 20 is 40. We have that 5p left, but remember we want a coefficient of 1. So since we're multiplying by 5, the p by 5, we divide the p by 5. If we divide this side by 5, we have to divide the other by 5. So p equals 8, and that's how much the cooking club made. They made 8 pies. If we put that in, 8 plus 4 is 12. 5 times 12 is 60. So it works out. Hope this helps, guys. If you have any other questions, leave some comments or bring them to class next time, and I'll be happy to go over them.